Those two apps at the same time. That was a terrible idea.
All right. We're about to be 5 after here.
Yeah.
Are we good? How is Alex sounding on stream? Like, if he's sounding okay on stream?
Yes, it looks like the stream is now working.
I could also switch to my phone. Since Zoom all my audio.
Yeah, that could be.
I mean, am I bad on the stream? Am I bad on the stream right now?
It's a little bit of an echo, says
Audio-wise?
someone.
Yeah, you got a little bit of an echo audio-wise.
Echo. Is Zoom still on somewhere?
We can do this. We could do this with just EE in my ear. And,
Yep.
Now you're quiet.
Quiet.
But now you're good. I would ship what you got right now. Right now is.
Am I good now?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna leave it here. Zoom ruined thing.
Yeah. So E is gonna talk to me and feed me questions. I will say the questions, and then you and I can answer them.
Yep.
Great.
All right.
Great. Love it.
And
Yep.
Alex can't hear E, so.
It's true. Something's going on. Something's going on. Ease with Discord. So we're doing a weird Frankenstein setup. So
Yeah.
Them's the breaks.
All right.
They're the breakers.
Do have
We are now live.
Are we on stream?
Yep, we are up on stream. We are up on stage. We have an audience in Discord listening.
All right. Yeah, we are live with the stream. Howdy, everyone. We're having a couple of technical issues with the stream, so EE will be not on stream today. Instead, she'll be feeding information into my ear, and I can hear her, Alex cannot. And so I'm going to forget this halfway through the stream, and so I apologize for that in advance. But I think we're ready to get going.
I think so.
Yeah. I guess we'll kick it off then with sort of announcement, like the big announcement.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right.
Go for it.
Cool. Yeah, so you may be wondering why we called you here today. So we are still releasing our July update. However, with Arc, we had the opportunity to double down on our second major content update. So we're looking to push that to August. So you'll still have a monthly update this month in July, but we'll have some extra goodies in the now August major summer update, which we are calling Double Down, as we called our April 1st major content update buried below. This one is Double Down. So expect to see more about that as we get into the month of August, culminating to release. But this is a really cool opportunity for us. We're getting some more time on the dev side to polish some things. Most notably, I'm really excited. We're going to have a lot of Twins narrative panels in there. If you were here for the release of Maw, we have narrative panels released for Maw. That we still will have those as we get to version 1.0, but we have some new folks and some returning folks working on Twins narrative, so you'll get those with the release of the Twins in our August update. So we'll give you some more details on that as we get closer. Margaret will probably get mad at me if I share too much right now. But
Fair it all, Michael.
Yeah. So if you were doomsaying and concerned, you don't need to be. This is a good thing for us, and a good thing for the game. And there still will be a July release as well, which I'm playing right now.
Yeah, the July release will be, you know, a little bit thinner than it was going to be otherwise, but it'll still have some good stuff in there, of course. Quality of life things and other bits and bobs we've been working on so that it's a valuable update, but it's going to be considered more of a minor update, an in-between update, as we've usually marked them internally. So that, again, like Michael was saying, we can put a lot more work towards some of these bigger systemic changes, and, you know, good additions that we've been wanting to do for some time / been working on into the later in August actual CD2 drop. But yeah, there's lots of content and good systems that have been missing and stuff like that that we're putting in and rebalance stuff. So I want to take a little extra time to do that right. And put a little bit more into it than we would have otherwise.
Awesome. Let's get started with questions.
So yeah.
End of stream. Bye. We're out. We're not canceled, so that's good.
All right, first question. How often do you playtest a change? Do you playtest every small balance adjustment, and then do you make multiple ones and test?
So the question is, how often do we playtest? Do we playtest after each small change, or do we test them together? Yeah, I mean, how often do we playtest? Yeah,
It depends.
Yeah. So the short version is we playtest every day. I think there is some team that is playtesting some portion of the game. We have a lot of per discipline and per team reviews that we do every week that are playtests. We also organize periodic comprehensive playtests. In fact, I'm skipping one right now and being very bad because it's mandatory for everyone else. When we have major balance changes and when major updates are scheduled to go out. So we've got some major balance changes coming in for the July update, and most of the team right now is actively playing those. And so, like I said, we have a variety of different sort of levels of play testing that we do, it's about making sure that we maintain a cadence as opposed to testing a specific change. We're less interested in evaluating one particular element and more about making sure that we see as the game is growing. Sometimes something may not play test right until the other components that it's waiting for are there. So it's really about just getting continual feedback, and we have a couple of different feedback systems that we built with the team for capturing those playtest notes, capturing pitches from anyone on the design team, or not anyone on the design team, anyone on the development team, from QA on up, etc. So we've got a lot of feedback mechanisms and continual playtesting. I think probably most people on the team are spending 2 to 3 hours a week at least playtesting.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, when it comes to our broader playtesting, like how much we focus and concentrate, it'll depend on how minor versus major certain things are, and how much feedback during a given week that we really feel like we need and where we want to source it as well. So we still work with external QA, and we also work pretty diligently internally across different segments of the team to make sure we're validating and testing in different ways, different parts of the game. So that's why, the lawyerly answer is it depends, but like Michael's saying, we are frequently testing every week. It's just some weeks are heavier than others, and some segments of the team are doing more testing than other segments of the team. It will depend on the update and what's required for that specific update.
Question from Silas on Twitch. What will quests be like? Is it for macro progression things or like raid quests?
All right, so Silas from Twitch is asking, what will quests be like? Is it more macro progression or more
raid quests?
Is that what I heard?
Raid quests. Okay.
Yeah. So we have multiple types of quests that will be going into the game for version 1.0. Our initial quests will be focused more on per cycle specific quests. that are there to enhance your cycle and give you extra objectives to complete. In the future, for a future major update, not the summer update, we'll be looking at expanding that and having a lot more quests that focus on progression and like meta progression and like permanent unlocks. Right now, we lean very heavily on the various meta progression currencies we have in the game to unlock a lot of things, and we want to shift that into something that feels more naturalistic and gives you more interaction and with the various characters in the world. So we're an action game first and foremost, so these aren't going to be deep RPG style quests or anything. But there will be a number of things to do. Yeah, but there'll be a number of things to do to enhance your runs and then ultimately unlock new content for the game.
Does Alex have any thoughts on specifics of what quests are going to be like? If there's going to be a basic quest structure?
Question is, does Alex have any additional information on what quests will be like? Is there a basic quest structure?
Basic. I mean, we do have some basic quests that you'll end up doing, but it's. You'll see with the update that there's again, like Michael was talking about, sort of a variety plan. We'll try and hit some spectrum of them, but you know, they're not going to be some deeply involved, many step, super story-based thing. We want to be able to reveal bits of the world, bits of the NPCs sometimes, you know, talk to them more parts of the hub in ways that are invaluable, and also push players to go out into the world and go into areas they might not normally, just giving you some clear sub-objectives for yourself to do run by run. So you can imagine that they're relatively straightforward. But we'll see how much more in-depth and complicated we want to get with them later on. But we want to get the system in, get the basics in there, and we can keep adding slash making them more robust as it makes more sense for us.
Additional question from Zenron on quests. How will quests interact in multiplayer? Will all players get the same quests and rewards, or will they be on a per character basis?
All right. Additional question about quests from Zenron in Discord. How will quests work in multiplayer? Do players have the same quests, or do they have different quests? I can answer this one. Your quests for a given cycle will be set by the host, and they will. Everyone will be sharing those quests if you're in multiplayer. That's not for the meta progression quests. That's for the individual cycle quests that we'll have coming in the summer update.
Right. What is new for EXEs? Says Birdshot on Discord.
Birdshot on Discord says, "What's new for EXEs?" And I can catch the. For the summer update, you won't see too many new EXEs. We are currently discussing as a team some deeper overhauls to meta progression, which I kind of alluded to with quests. And so for our fall update, we'll be looking at doing a deep dive into changing up all of our EXEs. And that whole system some. Let me try not to dig myself into too much of a hole here and overpromise. For this update, you will see a couple of new EXEs and some changes and tweaks, and we'll have some more information on that as we get closer to the August update.
Yeah, we do plan to keep working on time, but you know, we're not happy with them in their current form as far as the final version of them, but you know, we got some other priorities in the system side and balance that we want to shore up first before we really get to them. So we want to slot them in as soon as it makes sense for us, and hopefully that'll be in the fall.
Ray's Chunk, great username on Discord. I've reached the limit of what can be upgraded and now have 60 plus golden rations and abyss stones to spare. Will the game be prepared for a situation where everything possible is unlocked? And if so, what's the plan?
Raise Chuck on Discord says they've gotten more than enough of all of the golden rations, over 60 after buying everything else in the game, and are wondering, will the game be prepared for them to have fully maxed out unlocks? Alex,
I mean, we'll work on how we balance unlocks and there's definitely some version where we might pull back on some currencies or what have you, or do like a refresh on some of that stuff to help refactor or rebalance our economy, depending. But we'll try our best to avoid that stuff. So we'll figure out when the time comes, like what exactly needs to happen to try and reserve that. Certain currencies might need tuning and rebalancing, including golden rations. How many should you really have? We might need to we might need to reset some amount of that for specific things. So.
Yeah. Our goal for the August update is to not require a save wipe. So if you have fully maxed out everything for the August update, anything new you'll be able to acquire, but you'll be able to jump in pretty quickly into the higher difficulties and everything else if you're already at the end game.
Jen asks, Michael, have you watched Indie Cross yet?
Jen asks, Michael, have you watched Indie Cross yet? No, I have not. And I do a thing, tell me if this is familiar to anyone else, where I go, oh, that's a cool thing. I want to do that. I want to make some time for that. And then I never make time for it because life gets in the way. So I will watch Indie Cross. I want to watch Indie Cross because it looks really cool. But I want to do it with like an hour of uninterrupted time. And that's harder and harder to find
True.
as you get older and more filled with video games. More cool. I thought we previously established in one of these Q&As that being cool requires cigarettes, and that's an unhealthy habit we shouldn't encourage. So kids, don't be cool.
Start smoking, you know? Then you'll be cool. Like all the cool kids.
Heartsocket asks, after the July update, what major changes and additions do you think still need to be made before 1.0?
All right, so Heartsocket.
No, sorry. No, go.
Okay. All right. Heartsocket asks, after the summer update, what major changes do we still see needing to changes or additions do we need to make for the game before version 1.0?
I mean, there's always going to be balance. I would count on balance. Builds, like holobites and weapons and all that fun stuff. We'll continue to go through balancing updates across the board until we ship this thing out to version 1. I would also expect some amount of that stuff will have some tuning adjustments or even maybe some reworks on certain amounts of equipment drops and just rarities and things like that. So we'll be nothing major that says we're gonna remove a whole function of gear or whatever else. But it needs a lot of tuning and balance and consideration that we've been talking about for some time. Of frequently you're collecting things, the power scaling of the things you're collecting, and how they all fit together in builds, and that's just going to continue to take time. So I would say that's probably the biggest set of you can count on those things continuing to shift and evolve and change for the better. And then player characters themselves kind of go into with this, like, we want to do more to continue to differentiate the characters themselves as we've been talking about since the early days, and that still holds true. But otherwise, it's just finishing up content and like enemies, bosses, what have you. Story stuff. Yeah, those are the core areas that we can really look forward to for sure. That will have more continual changes each update. Some bigger shifts than not. But Also, I want to make sure it's clear. It's like not again, we're not doing some like tectonic shift in our gear or builds or whatever else. But we will probably majorly change this holobyte that wasn't working great, or shift a few to be more powerful or less powerful, or maybe move some around in a different slot, or like where they spawn and how they spawn, how frequently, just things like that. We've been continually working on that. Will just be true until we lock it down for version 1. There's also aspects of traversal that we'll see. We've been talking about hoverboard and what have you. It's like we'll see where we get with that stuff. Obviously, as time permits. But would love to do more with hoverboard at some point in the not too distant future. But cannot promise you a timeline until we knock some of these other things out. Post CD2, we'll have a little more thoughts and feelings on that front.
Yep. Yeah. After our summer update, our next major update will basically be less focused on adding a lot of new layers to the game and more focused on making sure all of those gel together, if you will. So this next major update this summer is going to be adding our difficulty system for endgame folks. Our noodle bar buff system and a variety of other things. And once we hit there, then we will sort of have the framework for everything that we're looking to be finishing out the game with. So from there, it's a lot of, you're going to see things move and shift. Like Alex was saying, as we balance, in particular, like there's plenty of weapon affixes that probably should be a holobyte, or holobytes that should probably be a weapon affix. To wire up and adjust the interplay between all these different layers when we're playing the game. So expect that to be the big focus for our fall update.
Remember the company Interplay with Earthworm Jim? What a good company.
Did Interplay publish Earthworm Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was Interplay, dude.
Sort of shiny develop.
Classic. Shiny develop, and Interplay was like the big publisher back then.
They were having worked at Volition. I've been privy to much of the Free Space 2, Free Space 3 issues there. But that's for another live stream, another day.
I mean, it could be for this one, Michael. You never know.
I'm not close enough to it to comment in a way that would be useful to anyone except some clickbait site. EE, please save us from me babbling and shoot me another question.
Rice Crispy asks, I think I've got my mic working.
You're back.
Rice Crispy is asking, would you ever consider dedicating an entire month focused on optimization updates?
We do optimization every single round. Every single update, we're doing optimizations under the hood. So there is not just one time that we'd be doing it, or one whole month. We have a variety of engineers on the project, and artists, what have you, and not everyone is always content or a system or otherwise, or they are working on a system that needs optimization. So it's a complex game, and that's why it takes some time to get optimization across the board into a good spot, especially when we're talking about real stuff, which is notorious for optimization stuff that takes just time. We do a lot of work on that front page update, and it wouldn't in the schedule it wouldn't make any it wouldn't serve us to say like everyone is doing optimization because again a variety of people are doing a variety of things, including several people doing optimization at one time, just on different spots. Some of it's about our meshes and textures and things like that. Some of it are like weird bugs with our AI that are eating things over netcode in strange ways and bogging the frame rate down. Some of it is purely about weird weird stuff that Unreal does with loading levels and culling and what have you, that might fix our tech art issues. So
each piece of it covers a different discipline and therefore a different person. So it's not all just one or another. We have our laundry list of stuff that we want to continue to tackle, that we do continue to tackle on the optimization side, but it's a balancing effort. So just know that we're always tackling it. It's never like the last thing that we do. There's many different times throughout before any update that we're just tackling some pieces of it, because that's how you got to do it.
I will say there are a number of significant optimizations in this update coming out in July. We cut our level load times in half, and we've seen significant improvements to performance in the hub. And to Alex's point, there's different people who work on different parts of this. Some of this is engineering, some of this is environment, some of this is environment art.
Hub stuff was like the Enviro, right?
Yeah, hub stuff was a significant amount of environment asset optimizations and performance improvements there that are coming down to materials and models.
Right.
So environment team did a great job there on addressing that stuff. So
sometimes it's a weird audio bug,
Yeah.
Optimization is not a linear. It's not a linear like one size fits all. Like we're just going to do blanket optimization.
That's like saying
we're just going to do graphics now. And it's like, well, what does that mean? There's like so many things that we can do on that front. So we try. We got to tackle all the different pieces of it, and it requires scheduling balance and making sure different people work together on different things at different times. So.
Okay. B would like to know, how long do you guys think you will keep supporting this game with content updates in the future?
100 years. I would say the thing that I've been saying forever, which is, as long as we have money that's coming in on this stuff, and interest in an audience from an audience on future updates, past the version 1.0, we would love to keep doing that stuff. So it is entirely dependent on that though. So but there is definitely a lot of value on that front longer term, and our publisher would also like to pursue that stuff. But it has to make financial sense for all of us to actually pursue that. And that depends on how our version 1 ends up going, how our launches go, etc. So if we do well, great. We'll support it for quite a while to come, probably. If not, then we'll pack it. Say, hey, finished out of version 1, and that was good, and we can move on.
All right. Kyle Catern, what are the most challenging and time-consuming tasks that go into making a new update? How often do you playtest and verify what things you added are working or not?
Optimization. I mean, genuinely, optimization is one of the more challenging things because of all the stuff we just talked about, of the nuance of it, finding the problem and trying to diagnose it and replicating it, and then who's going to do this or that, or shoot, do we need to rewrite our networking stack on this thing, or enemy behaviors on that thing, could we predict this happened or whatever else. So genuinely, that is one of the more challenging spaces. I would also say for a game like this, more on the fun design side of things and not just the tech side, prediction. Knowing what is or isn't going to work, or at least to try and predict what is or isn't going to work. This is a pretty complex game, just in general, definitely the most complicated we've ever made. But practically speaking, when it's a very systems-driven game like this, where I think Michael mentioned this earlier, of hey, this design won't work until we get X, Y, and Z system in, because it can't work. Our procedural generation for maps, it's like you can imagine it, put it on paper, but until we have a new map generating with new things being placed in it, you're not going to get to test that. And it's entirely systems dependent to get it to a space where you can test it. And then testing something that has more long-term, almost infinite generation, that takes a lot of testing to have all different variations play out, fix all the bugs, slash find all the problems that come up that you perhaps didn't predict, because those always exist. You know, you can write the most perfect documentation for it, and there will still be weird proclivities that pop up when it comes to wild generation systems that you're going to create of any sort. That, again, the more complex, the less you can predict carefully. Because it's just, hey, more variables lead to more outcomes. So proc gen can be very difficult because of those, again, particular pillars of it, which are the short version is just getting the systems in to all function together, which can take a lot of time, a lot more time than more traditional linear systems. And then again, the testing of that long term can take a whole lot of time too. All these things take a lot of time in any game production when you're doing it. So it's just particular with this title and how we're building it, and again the necessity of addressing these things with more complex systems interacting with one another. It just takes maybe an order of magnitude more time in some cases. You know, we've as a key example beyond just regular proc gen for our landscapes, even just trying to lay out things for how our builds are going to progress, and different elements in that, and like time to get things versus not, and how often this object is going to drop. Like all the economy and drops just take a lot of time to get in all the systems to functionally work with the other procedural generation stuff, and then to test and validate your theories, and then if that theory's wrong or you need to change it, then you need to go back to the drawing board, and that's the type of iteration that takes, again, a lot of time in a title like this, where we don't have a lot of analogs that we're comparing to oftentimes, and we're trying to make these sort of unique systems work. Are these unique ways of thinking about this stuff work together in a novel fashion? So yeah, that's a lot of things. I know. So everything takes a lot of time.
Yeah, I will second the interplay of design systems and being able to evaluate those, and particularly because we're early access, and because we started off with this promise of, hey, we're going to have an update every month, because I've played plenty of early access games that just go quiet forever, and you're like, hey, when I want more of this, what's happening? Are they dead? Trying to figure out,
not dead.
Yeah, yeah, or in fact not dead, as it sometimes is the case. Anyhow, like trying to figure out, for example, what is a small enough unit to be able to put in front of people that is making the game better, even when it's dependent on other features that won't be coming out. We added Fog of War several updates ago because we found that we needed to create more of a sense of exploration, not provide you with a full map at once, because people started playing the map as opposed to looking in the environment and exploring and using their eyes. But part of that system was, well, how do we give players back information about their map? And so the little map revealer doohickeys are something that we had wanted and thought were part of that system, but they came at different times, and the question becomes, hey, if you ship A and B at separate times, when A and B are supposed to work together, is that enough? And so much of game development is, or what makes a good game versus a bad game, is feel. It's not an algorithm you can kind of like figure out, and just be like, oh yes, it will be fun because the this plus that is always fun. And if you are that sort of formulaic, then you're not really making something new. You're just cloning something else. So that whole interplay is really just the most difficult thing, from a non-technical perspective.
Definitely. Yeah, I would say it's the thing that doing something more live and early access is a very different experience for us. And that was always going to be the case. So
it's not like
a shocking surprise that like, hey, yeah, this is hard to do. So
but it is
still hard to do.
Turns
Turns
out,
out, like, yeah,
like
Michael was saying, underscoring
which
things you're
wanting to put
out there because you need to make consistent updates versus what's too little of that because we can't fully finish that feature / when we can come back to that feature.
Different people have
different
priorities.
We got to organize stuff internally on the production side. We can't mess up this chain on this content over here, or well, this has a dependency over here with this engineer, and so it's like a very complex web when it comes to putting things out there live and early access title between the team and the audience and all the things in between, and also the publisher and marketing and like what can you put, like it's just
you've got so
many different vectors that you have to answer to, and it can become a real challenge to balance. So I think fortunately, I've been able to kind of work our way through that stuff and figure it out, and our plans overall have been relatively accurate to what we want to do, but things also change and need to change. So having a little bit of flexibility helps when you're dealing with such complex sets of problems that aren't possible for anyone to predict perfectly. So you got to ride a bit by the seat of your pants sometimes / be willing to change plans when necessary or just,
Question from Ron Fresso. What is the target gameplay time for content?
100 years. 100 years. That's my answer. That's my answer for everything. My attitude towards content is, well, I don't have like a specific time for you because we kind of need to see. I don't think there's a great answer for that right now. But I would for like a specific time. But I would say again, sort of our working mentality here when it comes to this stuff is what is going to feel satisfying, what is fun and fulfilling for the price that you paid. And obviously that will have some variation for every player, but there's a spectrum there that we can start to measure against and say, yeah, are we fulfilling that? So the goal for it is always let's create something that's satisfying that feels like it's worth the cash spent on this stuff, or at the more. Hopefully, obviously, this is a run-based game, and therefore you could play it a million times if you like. But there's always like the chases that people want, and so how much of that can we do? We never want to go into the infinite content seek type of stuff, because then you just end up in like gross procedural dreck. But I think as long as there's again a clear value exchange there, and enough people saying like, yes, this feels good as far as like money invested to the time that I got out of this. That's where we always want to make sure we hit that sweet spot. So it'll be finite in some way or another, and it should be pretty healthy considering it is a run-based game. But and different people will definitely want to chase different dragons throughout, so they might get 300 hours out of it versus 50 hours for another person. But there's a range that we'll keep looking at as we get more feedback and get all these systems in and start to really hone in on what that hour count is. But right now we don't have an incredible answer because we're in the middle of early access. We'll be able to answer that question a little bit later.
All right, from Raise Chunk. With the Buried Below update, people lost their character builds because the game's progress flow changed. Is there a possibility that someday we'll lose meta progression because of a future update?
Like I said, we're trying to. We don't want that to be the case for our August update. I would expect sometime either at version 1.0 or before version 1.0, there may be like one final reckoning of your progress. As an early access game, the mantra that we've had internally has been, if you're going to do those, you get maybe one. So I would expect sometime either at version 1.0 or before you would see that, but certainly nothing anytime soon. Like maybe the earliest you would see that is with our fall update.
We want to be careful about it.
Yeah, we don't want to waste your time and have you lose your save data and like restart something that feels almost identical. If you are losing your save data, we want it to be because the game has fundamentally shifted in a way that is positive. Very Below Update did that, and I expect that. Like I said, I expect that we'll have to do something as we get closer to version 1.0 to
probably.
clear out any balance issues that we may have been carrying around. There's some player exes that you unlock at level 1 right now that are kind of underwhelming, right? Bright Blood Attractor is not the most exciting thing, and we have to do something about that at some point. Either make that exciting, and so that will affect your save data, right? But we're not looking to wipe anything or cause people to lose progress repeatedly. It's not something that we think is good.
We'll take it in stride. And we'll do the things that we have to. We'll let people know as soon as we can. If something like that's going to happen in the future, probably not anytime soon, like I was saying. But also, we're not going to let that stop us if we need to like reset a bunch of systems because hey, we did much better stuff here. We always try and think about like how would we compensate players that invested time. Like could we give them extra currency for this, or if we do this, bonus for them there. So even if we do have to do that stuff in the future, again, we want to make sure we're trying to do like sort of a break even there for folks.
Awesome. Princess Red Reindeer asks, I'm still not clear on the changes to the July release. If this is a minor release, what will we see?
That is a good question because I don't have my spreadsheet in front of me. It tracks everything.
There's going to be a new pizza.
Yeah, you will see a major change in balance and in like gameplay balance and difficulty as we gear up for the difficulty system in August. You will see a new multiplayer emote system that's pretty basic, but lets you add some context to your map highlights and all of that, so that you have some additional ways to communicate. There's a bunch of new holobytes and mods that are coming in. So it will be on the scale, I would say, of like our May or June updates. We are making the choice to keep a couple of enemies that are like that may be ready right now in our pocket until August, so that we can better integrate them into the August update. So you're going to have, I think, no new enemies in this one, but you're going to get well over a dozen new mods. Like I said, big balance shift, multiplayer, etc. Multiplayer emotes, etc. So, and then August will have a ton of new things. I think we've teased that it's like, it's new crown, new characters, new weapons, new enemies, new narrative panels. I said that earlier. A bunch of new stuff. Sorry, I have a spreadsheet that lists it all, but my brain is goo while I'm talking. So, also marketing wants to share some of that stuff, and I'm not supposed to share some of it.
So
all right.
You'll know soon. We'll announce some things sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
Silith on Twitch asks, are there any plans on changing how vendors work in the overworld or what items they sell? Most runs I tend not to buy things from vendors and opt to use Brightblood solely for leveling up.
Yeah, we're gonna keep doing balance stuff on those fronts, including exactly what their stock is gonna be, and how often we do certain things with it. So it's part of our ongoing tweaking for sure.
Yeah, I can't remember if this was in the June update or something we did internally for the July update. But if it's not in the June update, in the July update, the overworld vendors will now buy things with materials instead of Brightblood, so that you're not Brightblood is not used for so many things, and so materials have more of a use. If you've been watching me play and interact with any of the vendors, you would have seen that in here. So that definitely like eases up some of the Brightblood conflict that we have right now. So Brightblood will still open up chests and be used for leveling up, but in-run vendors use materials.
From Heartsocket, has hiring people had any impact on the scope of content you think you can deliver before 1.0? I think this is in reference to our JDs that have gone up.
I mean, yes, more people allow us to make more and better. So
These are not for Breaker though.
Well, no, but we've also had the Breaker hires, like.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, with the new hires that we've had, like we brought a couple new people onto the Breaker team. That's not gonna like double our content or anything, but it does make sure that we can have a bigger, better game for version 1.0.
Or just more polished.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a big element of better versus bigger with the people that we brought in.
Jen would like to know, will there be some change to the Parry Enemy?
It's the Dirk that you have to parry. I really want to just say get good. I know a lot of people are struggling with that, and we're aware of that. And we're taking people's feedback under consideration. Yeah, so I don't want to say get good, but I really want to say get good. No, we're listening to folks, and we may make some changes. We'll see. They are meant to be difficult. They are meant to be the most difficult Dirk.
Great. Another one from Raised Chunk. Does Hyperlight Breaker have secrets or Easter eggs the community hasn't found yet?
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I'm not entirely sure what everyone has found. My favorite Easter egg that doesn't necessarily stand out as an Easter egg is a piece of graffiti in our hub, which is there from a special guest who visited the Heart Machine Studios last summer, I think. And that whole thing isn't my story to tell, but it's very cool, and that was a very, very awesome moment for me, just to be able to bring someone in and have them contribute to a game in that fashion. So that was very cool. Presumably someone has found that graffiti, but I haven't seen any big posts about it.
Cherry asks, is the balance shift going to be towards easier or harder?
It'll depend on which system and which enemies and what have you. So, it'll keep going, back and forth on certain elements. Like a little bit easier, a little bit harder. And we'll have to rein something in or make it more difficult. So, it'll have some fluctuation, but we do want this game, of course, to be hard. Generally speaking, because it is a run-based game, and you should die. So, I would expect the things that are frustrating to become less frustrating. And that's kind of the main point that we try and focus on when we're thinking about difficulty, because it is going to be a difficult game regardless, to some extent or another, because of its complexity, multiplayer, like it's a roguelike, you're gonna have runs that are bad, and that's just gonna happen, and part of that is roguelikes end up being very tough games. So inherently, by virtue of the run-based structure and roguelike nature, it's gonna be that. But the goal for us is always what things are frustrating / not fun that we could make fun / not frustrating, but still maintain challenge.
Yeah, I will say I think the balance changes that are going into the July update are really focused around making your progress over the course of a cycle feel more directly noticeable. So without getting too in the weeds here, the difficulty can be loosely described as the relationship between the player's power and the enemy's power. And what we've specifically been trying to avoid is having those things sort of stay in parallel with each other. So, oh, the player got more powerful, but the enemies got more powerful, because that doesn't feel like anything's different, right? So, we've gotten together as a design team and uh, done a whole lot of discussion about how we differentiate those things. And so, what you'll see is that certain enemies will become that may initially become very threatening, like the leapers and the croc brutes, may fall off after a while. You'll see variants become uh, more difficult generally, and you'll basically our goal throughout all of this has been to make the game feel more consistent in the scaling difficulty that the world has, and then allowing the player's power to sort of jump up um, at a different cadence than that, so that you get that feeling of, oh, I got something cool and powerful, and now I feel powerful. But then later on, the game catches up. But then you jump ahead again. So um, you want those relationships between player power and enemy power to vary and change up repeatedly over the course of a play session. That's what makes like difficulty interesting. Um, and so that's been the big focus. Uh, all of that is kind of deep in the weeds theory talk, but hopefully that landed.
Love weeds. Love weeds.
Another raised chunk question. Have to say, the hoverboard movement feels amazing, and I would love if you made more to it because you're obviously good at it. Will we have new features to character movement, such as continuous chain dashing, or wall jumps, or some rope-based movement, or have you already reached expected movement feel for this project?
Yeah, the movement feel is good. But like we've been talking about a few different times, there's more of the hoverboard that we would like to do. Again, that's kind of a luxurious thing for us to be able to do. So we'll see. But adding more depth to that traversal experience through the hoverboard would be good. No plans for other stuff though, because again, there's like the hoverboard and glider and all the stuff we have covered a lot of ground here for us. So. If anything, we're going to focus our efforts on the board itself again, with time permitting.
Yeah, I'd much rather get deeper on the hoverboard than add more things.
Yeah, we don't need more traversal systems. That would not serve us well.
Sealith on Twitch asks, are there any plans for adding a biome similar to the Eastern Water Shelf in Drifter? Would be cool to see the Ninja Frog enemies come back.
Ninja Frog enemies unfortunately will not make an appearance in this game. At least up until version 1.0. But if we continue on past version 1, then having more returning from Drifter characters is certainly a possibility for us.
A question for Michael Clark that I'm going to modify slightly. How do you think, if anything, has changed since Possessors was announced and it's now a big thing as well? Has the Breaker team felt any kind of morale change or any switch in focus, being disruptive or otherwise?
Disruptive? No. So the teams are pretty separate. There's a handful of folks who support both projects, um, like with some tech art like shader support and all that. And our UI person is like spending a day to help them out with some UI stuff right now. But the teams are largely separate, and there's maybe like from like a production sense, there's maybe like a 5% like sort of like share between projects out of like the total person hours that are allotted to each project with our staff and all that. So like generally like everyone's pretty excited that Possessors is being well received so far, and people are really excited for it. I've had the pleasure of seeing the stuff that they're doing for like the last couple years every 2 weeks that are in studio show and tell, and I think people are just generally really excited because whenever your coworkers and colleagues are making something cool, and then the world says, hey, they are making something cool. That's super validating. So it's been a really big, it's very positive for morale overall. Turns out hearing good things about stuff that you and your friends are working on is a morale boost. So yeah, it's been great to see the positive feedback for that, and it is not affecting the project negatively at all. It's not affecting Breaker negatively at all.
So you and Miriam don't fight regularly.
Miriam and I do not fight regularly.
No, I mean they don't. No, I mean they don't even talk that often.
Like, yeah, we
like once a month. Like once a month, maybe.
Like maybe once a month. Yeah, and it's usually it's just it's all positive stuff, you know, or figuring out the occasional random, hey, can I borrow this person for a day? So.
Jen asks, is there going to be a buff on the amount of assassins that should appear in a run? Because right now it feels like they are rare when they shouldn't feel rare.
Yes, overall, I think we'd like to have them show up more often. We have a couple of different things we've been talking about on the design side for that, yeah, I would agree that like they should be more prevalent in the game. Having said that, we also want them to be sort of a fearsome challenge, so we don't want to be throwing them at you all the time, because every time they show up, it should feel like an important fight. But they don't show up as often as we'd like right now. We want to change that. We also want to keep that. We've also been talking about ways to tie that to player progression throughout the run in a way that doesn't feel particularly arbitrary, but then feels like the escalating consequences of your current actions.
Doom has a question that I'm going to generalize a bit. Have you played Elden Ring, Night Rain, or any other new games that have influenced the development of Breaker across early access?
That's an. Can you repeat that again?
Have any of you played Elden Ring, Night Rain, or any new current games that came out in the last year or so during the early access period that have impacted the development of Breaker across early access?
Yeah. I mean, any games that come out over the course of a longer development cycle. If you're paying attention, if you try and absorb things, or at least going to have some talking points come up during development. You know, how much that affects the direction of anything depends on the game. It depends on the studio, depends on the people. But I think most developers pay attention to other products, especially titles that are close to what they're making, and observe it. You know, sometimes they go further, and maybe they try and take a feature that can work with them or what have you. I think for us, our philosophy is, or at least personally for me, and like how we've done things in the studios. Generally, it's like, yeah, look at stuff that's out there. Of course, pay attention, especially popular things that people love, and see if there's anything you can learn from it. You know, if you can make some riff on some cool idea that might fit into your game, that feels like it's actually going to have a positive impact and not take away from development in some crazy way. Great. You know, try and learn from that. Try and take from that in some good way. But if you're going to do that, always try and make it your own, rather than straight up copying or cloning. As much as you can, differentiate. So, you know, I think we've had lots of conversations over the past few years about, or with every title that we make about games coming out during the course of production. It just kind of happens naturally. Oh yeah, that game came out. It's kind of like this, or hey, that was a really cool mechanic in that game. Would we ever want to do anything like that? Or is there something neat that we can learn from that? Or hey, that's cool, but not for us. You know, I think most of the time those types of conversations end up with that was neat, but probably not going to affect what we were going to do anyway. It's much more rare that we see something and say, oh wow, that's really compelling. Let's do something like that. think that happens a lot less frequently generally, because
when you're planning for these titles,
they're complicated.
You already kind of have your set of ideas slash an overabundance of ideas already laid out in front of you, and it's difficult to sort of change course on things. So even if you wanted to change some like key feature or whatever else, because this other game came out, and wow, it's doing this crazy, like, Night Rain came out, and like we should have done a closing circle, which definitely I don't think we should have, and I think that's a terrible mechanic for this genre. But still, if we had said like, wow, that's perfect for our game, again, it isn't. We still wouldn't have had the time to even take that and be like, let's put it in our game without completely reorienting production in some massive way. Obviously that's like a bigger mechanic, but it points to the sort of complex and cascading nature of development, and it is really challenging to just add stuff in ad hoc, especially the later in production you are to the process. It has to be for a dang good reason, and usually that dang good reason is like the game is not fun, or it's broken, or something like that is on fire. But again, you make a lot of decisions early on in development that sort of carry through throughout the course of it, generally speaking, unless the game is a very troubled title or something. And again, for us, we maintain some flexibility to change some things throughout the course of production on every title. It's just been true, but usually the core of it is well defined. And again, I'll just underscore the other point too of there's typically just an abundance of good stuff, ideas, mechanics, whatever else that we want to put in any game. I think that's true for every developer. And you have to cull those in any case. So try and introduce new ideas from another game out there, even if it's successful, even if it's like yours, is even more of a challenge, because why not spend the time putting the other features we wanted to in the first place in the game? So it's sort of a battle of complexity, and at the end of the day, I think a lot of those decisions are made very early on in pre-production, and more than anything else. So even if a great game comes out that again has something really cool in it, it's pretty rare that you're going to see that make its way in late in production. So
yeah, 100%. I think when you have game developers analyzing other games, they're looking at all the different ingredients in there, and I think the big takeaway, the big takeaway that I have from Elden Ring is they're doing a lot of things differently than we are, and we're actually fairly different, like fairly well differentiated for things that on the surface could look pretty similar, right? The differences between worlds and combat and the pacing of the game, there's just a lot of different differences there, and so the more of those that stack up, the more you start to look at the individual ingredients and go, hey, does this make sense? It's like if we have a sandwich and we're looking at a pizza, maybe both these things could have pepperoni on them, but the more of those ingredients you steal from the pizza to put on the sandwich, you're losing or conflicting with the other ingredients on the sandwich. You're not going to put marinara and pepperoni and mozzarella and then toast it when there's already lettuce on there.
Making me hungry, Michael.
Right? Yeah,
this is a delicious metaphor.
Yeah. So it's like you're not gonna look at all the ingredients in some other game and go, yeah, we should steal all of those things, unless you're making the same thing.
Unless you're making the same thing and you start that way, and like before you even start the end, let's make a Call of Duty clone. Like that. Yes, those have been conversations a lot in the industry, right? So, but that's before it even really gets started. So.
Yeah, and I think it's very evident to me, at least, like playing Elden Ring and playing Hyper Light Breaker, they have different origins in what they were trying to do, and those both push towards, hey, let's have a big world and roguelike elements, and 3-person multiplayer. But the reasons for all those things were fundamentally different, and it's very clear to me that they had like different inspirations than we did.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we are at the end of our time. Thanks so much, Alex and Michael, for jumping on, and thanks to everyone for bearing with us through the technical issues and just generally for the participation, playing the game, showing up for us. Really grateful. Any other words?
Thanks, everyone. You're awesome.
Other words. Yeah, thanks all. We'll see
Bye.
you in the future.
Yeah. Catch you later this month.
Peace.